Hey, I'm Reed, and I'm a solo game designer creating Rogue Hex. It's a roguelite 4X. You can craft a deck of cards and use it to conquer the world. Think Civilization meets Slay the Spire. This is part 2 of my first year progress video. Building cities and growing them is really satisfying, but it can get complicated. Lots of menus and management, not a great fit for my card game. So I put a twist on the mechanic for Rogue Hex. You can spend food to play a feast card and feed your city. When this green bar fills up all the way, your city grows and gains a level. I drew inspiration for this mechanic from Polytopia. In that game, you click on resources to harvest them and feed your cities. Fill the bar, the city levels up, and then you get to choose between 2 upgrades. There's just one problem. In Polytopia, city upgrades are the same every time you play. You always choose between stone walls or bonus stars at city level 2. In Rogue Hex, every playthrough should feel unique, and improvisation is more important than perfect planning.
Gambling feels good.
So I created randomized city bonuses. Level up your city and you get 3 random options. Choose one. But what if you're super unlucky and the game keeps giving you crap? And this game sucks. Maybe it won't happen often, but when it does happen, getting 3 bad choices to pick from feels bad. I always try to avoid designing game scenarios where players are frustrated by something that happens outside of their control. So I added a reroll button to address this. Now you can spend currency to roll the dice on a new set of choices for city bonuses, techs, or village rewards. You might still end up in a scenario with 3 bad choices, but now it's within your control. You can choose when to spend your rerolls. You could even choose to stockpile lots of rerolls during the game as part of your strategy. So now, if you get stuck with a crappy choice, the game doesn't suck, you suck at the game. After the rush of exploring a new world full of endless possibilities, it's time to lock down the best thing in reach and settle, like I did with my girlfriend.
Hey!
You play cards to take actions in Rogue Hex. This works great for gathering food or creating plans, but it becomes more complicated when units are involved. Picture this. You have a settler and you just found the perfect place to create a city. But you need to play a found card on the settler to create the city, and you don't have it. You might waste 2 or 3 turns waiting to draw the found card by chance, and in the meantime, your settler's just waiting there, useless. Or else you might draw the found card on turn 1 before your settler is in the perfect spot. Now you've got a useless card clogging up your hand. And what happens after I play the found card? Does it disappear from my deck? What happens to the found card if my settler dies? Sure, there are solutions to these problems. We could create new rules and exceptions to handle every edge case, but there's a cost. Each band-aid fix that we use to patch a design problem makes our game less intuitive, less elegant, and less fun. I decided to create a new skill system that allows units to take actions on their own terms. No cards required. I used this city hall model to create a city object and connected it to the new settle skill. In classic 4X games, cities generate production, a currency used to create buildings, units, and more. Opportunity cost compels you to choose. Should I buy a granary in my city or castle walls instead? There's also something deeply satisfying about watching those city production meters fill all the way up and collecting the reward.
Just one more turn.
But the formula has some problems. In the early game, I find myself building the same buildings in all of my cities in every match. On the other hand, during the late game, I might have to scroll through 10 or 20 options in a city. For Rogue Hex, I wanted to shift the center of gravity away from complex menus and into your hand and deck of cards. Instead of selecting a project in one of your cities, you can pay resources to play cards from your hand. For example, I can pay 2 food and 1 person to recruit this warrior. The mechanic creates a lot of variety while naturally regulating the number of choices that you have at one time. But what about that satisfying production meter?
Yeah, just come on, one more turn. Just one more turn.
I created a new production bar that works like the science meter. When this one fills up, you get to improve your deck. And of course, you have an interesting choice to make. You can upgrade a card, draft a new card, or remove an old card from your deck. Speaking of upgrades, check out this card upgrade screen from Slay the Spire. Each card has a powerful level 2 version, lots of exciting options to choose from. I love this mechanic, but I don't like that I have to click on each card to see the upgraded version. So I experimented with different designs in Rogue Hex to see if I could improve the user experience. Here's my first draft. I translated Slay the Spire's side-by-side card comparison from a menu to a hover pop-up. I think this looks nice, and it solves the original problem. I can see my options without clicking. But it doesn't feel great to use. The upgrade pop-up hides the card to its right, so you need to do this awkward mouse wiggle to check out all of your options. After some more experiments, I came up with this. You can hover over any card to see the upgraded version. We lose the side-by-side comparison, but it's easy to mouse over a card and see the change. I think the trade-off is worth it to make the user experience of upgrading your cards a little bit more comfortable. The third X in 4X is exploit. You've explored the world and expanded and captured some resources. Now you've got to spend some gold on those basic assets. Just like my girlfriend.
Nobody cares, dweeb.
In most 4X games, you can buy worker units and use them to improve tiles. I like this mechanic. Invest some gold, pick a tile, and choose an improvement. My first thought was to use our new skill system to create a Civ-style worker right away. But I think the worker improvement menu could be improved. All of these grayed out buttons are clutter. There's only one usable option. And in the end, I'm really interacting with the tile here. It's kind of weird to have the menu on a separate unit. I decided to use cards for this instead, and I added these green highlights to show which tiles you can target. Now you can build mines, farms, and pastures. Each one grants a different bonus. Mines boost production, and farms give you food. It feels good to explore with your scout and earn XP. But it's not very satisfying to gain a level if the level is useless. That'd be like getting a promotion to do the same job for no extra pay.
Yeah.
In most 4X games, units unlock traits when they level up. I can choose the Ranger trait for my scout in Civilization, improving his movement speed in jungles and woods. I created a similar trait system for units in Rogue Hex. Traits can affect the unit's stats, unlock new skills, or grant passive abilities. This World War I era tank is cumbersome. He can't drive through forest tiles. But this modern armored tank is lumbering. She can drive right over forests and flatten them. In classic 4X games, players choose their path in a promotion tree with 2 branches. And these promotion trees are set in stone. The same options appear for the same units every time you play. Here's another opportunity to reinforce Rogue Hex's unique design language. Improvising, experimenting,
And gambling.
I plugged unit traits into a new promotion system using my trusty Pick One framework. Now you can draft a promotion for your unit every time they level up. In Civilization, you get a big giant list of saves to pick and choose from.
Oh no, Gandhi nuked my capital. Maybe I'll just reload my save from 3 turns ago.
I'm not above a save scum, but I don't think the mechanic is a good fit for my roguelite game. So you get 1 save file in Rogue Hex. Sometimes you need to take a break, and that's cool.
Enjoy your poop, sir. I'll be here waiting.
This was really boring, and it took a long time to code. But it's important, and game dev isn't always glamorous.
I hope you enjoy your poops.
You spend a lot of time looking at menus in 4X games. I tried to minimize this in Rogue Hex, but to some extent, it's an unavoidable part of the game. So I felt it was important to add some polish to the menus early on. I started by creating a color palette. This dark black color naturally attracts the eye. I use it to highlight important information. I also carefully mixed the color for each currency. My goal was to make them recognizable at a glance and create an intuitive link between icons and the concepts they represent. For interactive elements, I use circles or shapes with rounded corners. I hope these friendly apple curves attract players to things they can click.
Hmm.
Finally, I created this screen space scrolling texture shader. It works like a little window into another dimension, a bit like my fancy 3D cards. And I updated all of my menus and pop-ups to use the new art. And then, after more than a year of work, I released Rogue Hex in private alpha on my Discord. A handful of awesome people started playing the game and telling me what they think. And you can too. If you want to play Rogue Hex right now, join my Discord. I'm giving out closed alpha keys with every update. And if you think Rogue Hex looks fun, please consider wishlisting on Steam. Your vote makes a huge difference for indie games like mine. Both of those links are in the description. And if you enjoyed this devlog, let me know. Like the video, subscribe, and leave a comment about which part was most interesting for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.